What's the best thing you can teach your 11-year-old son? It's kind of general, but launch quickness. Teach him to learn that he can launch the bat the instant he decides. And that sounds very elementary and very basic, but probably 99% of everybody out there, before they can swing, after they decide, but before they can swing, they have to do something else. You've got to have that something else already done so that when you decide to swing, you swing. Buy my online course and all the drills and everything is there. Everything you need to learn that is there. Why didn't Rizzo implement your technique? Well, I started working with him in spring training of 22. He came with Judge and he said, "Rich, help me stay back. Help me stay back. I'm having trouble staying back." So I put him through my drills that help you stay back on your back leg, and sure enough, he hit 32 homers. Had a good season. 23, he started off really well and then had that concussion and never really got going. Sat out a long time, and when he came back, he never really got going. 24, he started off really well. Broke his arm. So I helped him with what he asked me to help him with, and it really helped him. Drills to get more of the snap feel behind your back leg. Well, if you've seen the corner drill, that's the drill you need. Okay? You get your body, if you divide your body in half, draw a vertical line through your belly button, through your chest bone, your belly button, and forget about your front side, and take the rear column and wind it up like a spiral from your foot to your calf, to your thigh, to your hip, to your lat, to your upper back. Wind yourself up like a top, and then snap and tilt to launch. The snap is backwards or rearward. The tilt is rearward. When you do that, your leg will turn, your leg will unwind instantly, and you will have snapped from behind your rear leg. Do I recommend toe tap, no stride, or leg kick? No. I don't recommend any of those. I also don't have a problem with any of those. When you learn the high-level pattern, you should be able to no stride. You should be able to stride to a no stride. That's what I call Otani's move. He strides, but he puts his foot down and then acts like it's a no stride. You should be able to toe tap. You should be able to hover. You should have a leg kick regardless of its height. You should be able to do all of those really well. And then you pick the one that you can time a pitcher with the best. Does it matter when you start? Like, should it be one motion or should it be coil, stop, and then go? It absolutely matters when you start, and it has to be one continuous move that is a load that transitions seamlessly into a swing. It's not a load, stop, swing. You go on around. Your load goes on around and turns into a swing. And when you figure that out, it's amazing. The timing window that you create, the timing advantage of that is unbelievably good. As to when do you start, you've got to do this seamlessly, and you've got to do it at a tempo that you can control it. So depending on your tempo, that's going to determine when you start. Most people will start generally around pitcher handbrake. Okay, that's a good spot to learn from. You may stay there, or if your tempo is a little quicker, you'll start a little after handbrake. If your tempo is a little slower, you'll start maybe at leg lift or a little bit before handbrake. You have to establish a tempo, a pace that you can get your body loaded, and you can get this load to seamlessly turn into a launch without rushing. Okay? You've got to get a complete stretch before you launch. Your body takes a certain amount of time to do that. Figure out that time, keep that time, and then figure out when to start against tonight's pitcher in the on-deck circle. How do I get an opportunity to work with you? Well, right now I'm just coming off a surgery. I'll be ready to start working next week. So send me an email and we'll see if we can get something set up. I only work with players 16 and above, late high school, college, pro. These are the players that have a short window of time to learn and be effective enough to have a future. If you're 10, 12 years old, my son would be happy to work with you. I'm spending my time with the people who need to learn it now and learn it quick. Any Yankee players that you've worked with? Several. Aaron has brought several Yankees to our workouts. Some of them just have a specific interest, like Rizzo wanted me to help him stay back. Others are just interested in seeing what Aaron has learned. I have several minor league Yankees. In fact, in the AA championship game this summer, I think it was Somerset Yankees played the Erie Tigers. And there's roughly 13 players, 13 position players on each team. I don't know the exact number, but that's a good estimate. So that would be 26 players. 12 of them were clients of mine. Half of the position players in that playoff series were clients of mine. Thoughts on Kevin Schnall? Kevin Schnall is an amazing person, an amazing coach, amazing student of the game. I expect him to have a tremendous career as head coach of Coastal Carolina. I met him in 2012. He, with his own money, wanted to learn what I had to teach. He paid my way to Coastal Carolina, to Myrtle Beach, I guess, Conway. Spent a few days there working with him and with some of the Coastal alumni. Got my points across. He adopted it and teaches it to this day. In 2016, Coastal Carolina won the national championship and led the nation in home runs. Kevin's a great man, good supporter of mine. Would you say it's a problem if you land closed? Generally, yes, but there's always an outlier. I believe Jose Altuve launches from his back leg and lands closed and basically has a very quick launch quickness, a snappy swing, even though he lands closed. The issue with landing open or square or open or closed is you've got to have a path to the ball, a clear path to the ball. And when you stand square or open, you have less to do to get a clear path to the ball. Okay? I call it the matador position. If I was a matador and I would hold my little red, whatever that is, cloth here, I want the bull to go right through there. When I'm hitting, I want that path. I want to see that I can go straight through an outside pitch, straight through a middle pitch, and straight through an inside pitch without coming around or pulling off any of them. So, if I'm going to stand open, I've already got that path. Okay? If I'm standing square as I coil and pick up my foot, that path will happen. If I'm standing and landing closed, that inside pitch can be a real problem. There are outliers. There are people that go against the book, still have success. Okay? Why do grown men who don't swing argue against HLP? Hope you're doing well. I am doing well. I don't know exactly. I mean, there's a big ego thing going on between former players and current coaches who played. How can a pool hall owner know this? How can he be right? All I can tell him is I've had a lot of success teaching this. Aaron Judge might be the best hitter in the league. He has 2 of the best seasons ever in the history of the game. Kerry Carpenter hits homers at a 30-homer pace in the big leagues. What I teach works. It'll work if you trust and believe in it and apply it. Yes, the drills that I use to get you to feel certain things are a little weird, and the quote ex-big leaguers really throw a fit when they see those drills. They throw a fit about the drills, but they never say anything bad about Aaron Judge's swing that came from those drills. I graduated from college as a teacher. I taught middle school and high school for 3 years before I left teaching. And then I opened Teachers Billiards and Sports Cafe, and I taught pool for 30 years. And then in 2006, I had my aha moment, and now I teach hitting for almost 20 years. I'm a teacher at heart. A good teacher is able to analyze what's missing when something is missing, whether it's something within the baseball swing or whether it's something within the pool stroke. And I have the ability to segment the swing into parts. And I create a drill that helps you understand a part of the swing. And then I create another drill that helps you understand a different part of the swing. For example, you've brothers, Aaron Judge standing on one leg and hitting the ball and never letting his rear leg or his front leg come down. What is that teaching? That's teaching him the feeling that he must have, the relationship between the rear hip and the rear leg. You can get that feeling with both feet on the ground, but you're going to learn the feeling quicker if I get you off your front leg. So I have a drill where the whole thing is done from the rear leg. Another example, the whack-a-mole drill, to get people to turn their barrel down the back, okay? It's easier to get them to understand that we've got to get the barrel up to speed behind us instead of in front of us, if we actually practice getting the barrel up to speed behind us. And so I have a drill where that's all they do, okay? And so you've got a one-legged drill, you've got a whack-a-mole drill, you have a stretching drill, and there's others. But when you finally get them to feel all these different things, and they get everything to work at the same time, they have a beautiful swing, okay? So, as I've developed this little system of drills to create that swing, all these former players never did those drills, so how could they be effective? That's their thought. How could this work? And yet, I started teaching pro players for the most part in 2016, and I've got, 10 or 12 clients in the big leagues and 50 or 60 clients in the minor leagues and a whole bunch of college players that are doing well. I don't think I'm hurting anybody. In fact, I think I'm helping a lot of them. And in fact, Aaron Judge went public and called me a career changer. I changed his career, okay? So there's a lot of ego involved in those former players and the coaches fighting what I teach, but every one of them would love to have the swing I teach. What's your favorite drill to help on hitting curve changeup, lefty on lefty? I don't have a favorite drill for that. I have a lot of favorite drills that aren't specific curveball lefty-lefty or curveball righty-righty or changeup. I have a drill, several drills, that we work to get you into a position of controlled load. You're going forward, you're coiling, you're under control, your foot's off the ground, you're not rushing, you could swing at any moment. You have a window of time that you're under control and you're waiting for the ball to come into your window. That drill works for every issue. Now, if you have a vision problem, you can't see you're lefty and you can't see the lefty ball very good, well, we got to open your stance or do something like that or help you with that. But when you get to the high-level launch position consistently, on time and under control, it just comes down to pitch recognition, and you have the time, because you're in that good position of control, you have the time to recognize the pitch and execute your swing. And with practice, you'll get good at it. How can I keep getting better at launch quickness? I know the moves and feels, so what else can I do to keep getting better? You just keep practicing. Once you know something and you do it every day, you'll be better at it a month from now than you are right now. You'll be better at it a year from now than you are right now. Keep practicing it over and over and over. Each time you practice, you're going to get, as you improve, you're going, oh, there's a new feeling there. There's another point. I'm a little more over the plate, or I'm a little more coiled, or I'm sitting a little more, or I'm controlling my forward move a little more. The real key is getting to the brink. The edge. The edge is the point where you're about to lose the load and you have to swing. I call it the edge. I call it the brink. And you have to get to the brink and control the brink for a fraction of a second. Okay? The pitch release, a 90-mile-an-hour pitch release takes about 0.4 seconds to get to home plate. You have about 0.2 to read the pitch and about 0.2 to execute your swing. So you have to hold that load for about 0.2 seconds. That's not a long time by the clock, but it is a long time in the game. You've got to learn to control that segment of time. Opinion on Jazz Chisholm's swing? Good question. Jazz is a super fast twitch player, and I believe he launches the bat like I teach. Very, very quick. But before he can launch, after decision, but before he can launch, he does something like this and then launches. And that fraction of a second, that one frame of 30 frame per second video, 1/30th of a second causes him timing issues. I say issues, he's a big leaguer, he's a good player. It causes him to not be as good as he could be. The actual swing is really good, but he doesn't get to the position and control the position he launches from effectively. Why did Alex Bregman change his good swing from 2019? I've never worked with Alex, never talked to him, have no idea why. I think it was this past off season, maybe the one before, where he started doing stupid stuff he didn't do when he was one of the premier players in the league, and it cost him. Okay? I think he's back, or he's relatively close to what he used to do when he was good. What other HLP instructors besides grit do I suggest? I'm not going to give you a list here because I will forget somebody and they'll be ticked off. But if you send me an email and tell me where you live, I'll suggest the closest person to you. Is the tilt initiated by the rear hip socket? I've always thought it was initiated by torso and could never bring it into the game. Is it initiated by the rear hip socket? Well, first of all, the rear hip socket is a joint. It's a junction of the hip and the ball of the femur. And then you ask, is it initiated by the torso? Well, the hip is part of the torso. Okay? But to your question, the tilt is initiated by whatever muscles do this. It's the torso, the rear hip is coiled, and it tilts over the back of the ball of the femur, and when it does that, the leg pivots and explodes the barrel through the zone. So the tilt move is a torso muscle. It's actually your back muscles, probably your lat, probably some other muscles involved that are going to do this in the hip socket. Okay? It's not rotation, it's tilt over the back of the ball of the femur in the hip socket, done by your back muscles. Why does blast motion not work for evaluating an HLP swing? Because it doesn't measure what evaluates an HLP swing. Okay? An HLP swing is evaluated by the launch quickness. Time out, someone's coming to my door. Okay, I'm back. I've got about 10 minutes to go. Okay, back to the blast motion question. Blast motion measures what it's capable of measuring. And a lot of people rely on those measurements as a proof of good, a proof of success, or a number that if you reach these numbers, you will have success in a game. And that's just plain bullcrap, okay? You can produce a really good blast motion number in every one of their categories and never be a good hitter. The difference between the good hitters and the poor hitters is can they hit the ball? It isn't what angle they hit the ball at. It isn't their time from launch to contact. It isn't their exit velocity, okay? It's can they hit the ball? Can they barrel the ball? And that is determined by how quick you are. Against a good pitcher who has a fastball and good secondary pitches, you have to have extreme quickness to be able to be quick enough to wait long enough to read the pitch. And when you're waiting for a fastball and have the ability to wait a tick longer for the off-speed pitch, you have that ability because you have launch quickness. Blast motion cannot measure launch quickness. Do I work with coaches so they can implement this with their players? I do. I got a coaches clinic coming up here in December. For you as a coach to understand it, you're going to need to pick up a bat and swing and take a few lessons yourself. If you try to teach this without being able to do it yourself, without knowing the details, you're not going to be a very effective teacher. You're not going to be able to analyze. When your player's not getting it right, you're not going to be able to know what's missing. So you need to swing the bat yourself to get a good enough understanding of what it takes to do it, and then you'll have a chance to analyze what's missing. A lot of tilt questions. This is not hard, folks. You coil. What is the coil? The coil is happening in my rear hip socket. My pelvis can coil from two solid legs, two weighted legs, 50-50 legs, and that rotation is around the spine. But if I'm on my back leg and coil my rear hip socket, that turn is happening in my rear hip socket. It's not happening around my spine. Okay? So from rear hip socket coil, we tilt. We tilt. It's easy. The tilt is easy to see when I hold a bat like this. If from rear hip socket coil you rotate, if I hold the bat like this and get the coil and rotate, watch this end of the bat. It's just a horizontal turn. But when I get to rear hip socket coil and tilt, this goes up. This goes up, and as that goes up, the leg turns. So the misread that most people have in a swing is when I do this right, coil and tilt, watch my belt. It looks like it's rotating, but it's not. It did this, and then the leg turned. The leg is what's turning the belt, not the hips. How can I master the hand snap? This propeller, I think, is an amazing tool, okay? Most people don't see this move within a swing because a lot of other stuff is going on. You're coiling, you're stretching, you're going forward, and all of that changes the look of this, okay? When I studied Bonds, I saw his bat go back like this before it went forward, and it was happening really fast, like the Nike swoosh. Around the back and then up the front, okay? So when you spin this propeller, you're going to start to feel your forearms working more than you've ever used them before. Most people don't use their forearms until about right here, and they push with them, okay? When your hands have to travel to here before you can push, you have slop in your system. The fastball is going to get on you even further before you can actually swing. But when you take your forearms and snap the bat like this, notice the propeller is just spinning. It's creating a circle, not an ellipse. When you snap the bat right here from a coiled, stretched rear leg and tilt with it, the barrel goes right to contact. The snap and the tilt make the leg turn. And it happens instantly, simultaneously, and lightning fast. And with a full swing, you just let it go. Coil, tilt, and snap. Okay? All right, that's it for today. Thanks for watching. See you next time.